Hi guys. Today we are going to be focusing on one of the new buildings, one of the new kind of features that came out a few weeks ago with K50, and that is the Wisdom Dome. The other stuff that came out is kind of useless, but this is kind of the one thing that does have some benefits tucked away in there. And I've kind of not touched this for a couple of days, just so I have some kind of tokens to use during the video here. And hopefully it will kind of give you guys a bit of a better idea what the potential benefits can be, how it works, so on and so forth. So basically every day you get some of these books on the left and some of these book fragment things on the right. I guess they're called goddess worship tokens. You could just get them from dailies, right? And then the ones on the left, you can also use gems. So you can use 2,500 a day to get 5 extra ones. And basically every 9th book you get is guaranteed to drop a purple, which is like the second highest rarity. And then the ones on the right, every 19th you're going to get an orange, which is like the highest level rarity. And, you know, these will just tick away. You'll get loads of green books, blue books as well. And fortunately, there is a use for those, as some of them are not very good. But basically, you know, we'll use these to kind of get a bunch of halves, right? So I'll use the ones on the left here. So we'll do the 10. So that got me a purple because I hit my 9th, and it's got me a bunch of other stuff. Let's do it again. It's going to give me another purple. Happy days. And then one more time. And then we'll do the ones on the other side. So there you go, I've got an orange as well. So, okay, so what did that get us? Well, if we go into book merge, we can start kind of, if you press the thing here on the left, the kind of thing that looks like a plus, it's going to show you all the different books that you've got, and you can kind of filter them down. But basically there's 5 categories. There is the mounted books, the ranged, the ground, the siege, and then the last one is like ranged and siege, but that's kind of misleading. It's actually just debuffs for those things. Whereas the other 4 are going to be for your outfield or defending troops. And we'll kind of step into each one to kind of see what that one looks like. So we'll just look at mounted to begin with. So I've got 34 mounted books here. And basically you need 2 halves, a left and a right. So for instance, I can't merge like that one and that one. I have to find another one that's a left, right? So I could do in rally mounted attack and like attacking mounted attack, and merge those. So you'll see here, like if I pick a right and then I go to the player merge thing doesn't really work very well. So I have to press warehouse merge, and it's only going to give me the left to pick from, right? So I have to use the left and the right. But if I do it the other way around, and if I start with the left and then I pick warehouse merge, then I get to pick from all the others, right? So I don't know if that makes sense. But so what this is going to do is it's going to give us not 1 book, but 2 books. So the math doesn't quite work out here, but basically you're using 2 halves to get 2 full books. And part of the reason for that is when you get to doing your upgrades of your goddess attendants, the weight of a half book is the same as the weight of a full book. So that way, by merging books, you don't necessarily like lose anything in the way of what it's worth for upgrading the levels of the attendants. The other thing to point out is, and I'll do a different one here just so there's a little bit more variety. Let's go to ranged. So, okay, maybe a bad example. All right. Now we'll do 2 blues, because why not? So we'll start with this one here, in rally ranged troop attack. And the numbers basically give you the minimum and the maximum of what that attribute could actually end up at when you do your merge, right? So I'm going to pick that. and then I'm going to find another in rally range troop attack one there. So when I hit merge here at the bottom, I'm going to get 2 books, and each book is going to have a basic attribute, and that's likely going to be some kind of defending range troop something, either attack, HP, or defense. And then there's going to be 3 advanced attributes. So we already know what 2 out of those 3 are going to be, because we've got one half from in rally range troop attack on the left, and we've got the other half coming from in rally range troop attack on the right. And then it's going to give us a third one at random. But if we click on the little thing here, it's going to tell us we basically, like, these are the potential ones we're going to have. So because we're looking for in rally, I obviously want us to get another in rally. I'll settle for an attacking. Defending doesn't really help me because, again, I'm trying to focus on the outfield stats here. So we'll hit merge and see what happens. So the first book we got, that third attribute is attacking range troop attack, so fine, but they're all pretty low, right? So none of them are anywhere near 5%, which was I want to say the maximum. And then the basic is, instead of a defending one, I also got an in rally, but it's for HP. And then the other book, if I tap, is a little bit better. I got a purple stat, so instead of a bunch of 1 point something or other, I got a 4.3. So I can then view those books in my book warehouse, or if I go to my merge records, I see the 2 new blue books that I got at the top. So I can kind of like compare those and see which one I prefer. Obviously the second one is going to be way better than the first one here. And then I can go and apply it. Okay. So that's kind of how the merging process works. So you've got to, like, it is important to kind of figure out like what your starting attributes are. You don't have to match them, but depending on what your goal is for that book, you should kind of be kind of selective with how you go about that. Okay. So now if we go to Goddess Attendant, this is basically where the books get applied, right? So the top left is unlocks at one of the lower levels. I think it's like level 2 or something. And that's where the mounted book goes. The top right is where the ranged book goes. The middle one is where the ground book goes. The bottom left is where siege goes. And then bottom right is where the siege and range debuff one goes, right? So you can see I've already got 2 here applied. And what we'll do is we'll put a ground one in for the first time in the middle here in a minute. And if you click on the plus, it'll basically kind of show you what your options are. Take my filters off here. So I have no ground books that I've built yet. If I go to my ranged one, it's going to show me what's currently in there. So this one, this one's fine, but I've got 2 defending, and I don't really want that. I want outfield more than anything. But if I go on the little double arrow, it's going to let me change. So these are the 2 blue books that I just built a minute ago. So I could switch to one of those, and I'm going to get slightly better stats as a result, right? So I can go select, and now that blue book is in place. I can view it, and these are global, right? So these aren't like military tactics that only apply to a certain preset, or it's not like something that goes on a general. These statistics are global when you put them in one of these slots. You can obviously, like, if I'm in a battle where I'm going to get hit a lot, I would want to probably change this to my defending ranged troop attack. Oh, sorry, this one. Because I want my in-city buffs to be higher. So it's kind of like Blazons in a way that you get to switch between like attacking focused books versus defending focused books, or like Monarch gear or something like that. But it's a kind of slow process to have to come all the way in here and start messing around with this stuff. So that sucks a little bit. You'll also notice there's some numbers on each of these slots. So again, if we click on the book and we look here at the bottom, we've got the advanced attributes, and then there's like some brackets, and then there's some additional numbers. So if we watch what happens to those, and I'm going to I'm going to upgrade this one a few times just so you see what the effect is. So we've got like 0.3% extra on 2 of those stats. So if we go to upgrading, and this is kind of, this should be familiar to most of you. It looks very much like the Blazons thing. We're going to basically chew through a bunch of these green books. So we're going to hit upgrade. So I'm now instead of a 2, I'm at a 3. And now, instead of 0.1 and 0.2, I've got a 0.1, a 0.3, and another 0.1. So all those stats have just ticked up a little bit. Now, the nice thing is that if I change this book, say I go back to my purple one, and I click on it, I still get those same, like, bracket percentages increases. So I can upgrade the position that the book's going on without actually affecting the book itself. So if I ever want to change the book, I haven't lost anything. And that's one of the key features of this new building that's better than like Blazons and Civ cards, which is if you mess something up on a Blazon, you have to basically like decompose it and start from scratch. And in the process of decomposing the Blazon or using, the level 10 or level 15 in another set, there's like an inefficiency. So you basically like lose progress essentially every time that you restart. Whereas on this, if I get a better book in the future, I get to leverage this. And because of how that weighting works, where it's like, whatever I said, it's like 2 halves don't make 1, 2 halves actually make basically 2. I can go in here and you'll see, so here we go. So to go from level 3 to level 4, I need 200, whatever that is, XP, right? So if I click on a half book that's green, I get 5, right? I'm not sure I've got actually any composed books here, so that might not work, but let's use a different example. Let's use the blues. Here we go. All right. So I've got a blue half here that I've just picked. So that's worth 10, right? And then to the right of it is one of the blue books that I've just composed. That's also worth 10. So by composing a book from 2 halves, I haven't actually lost anything because I get 2 books when I compose from 2 halves. So as a result, I can use those along with a bunch of other stuff, right? Go deselect a couple of these. So I can go use those, done, upgrade, and I get exactly the same credit than I would have got for doing any of the others. And then I come back here and I look, and now I've got 0.2, 0.3, 0.2. So my stats again have just incremented up ever so slightly from doing that. So for mounted and for ranged, it's all about attack, right? You get your basic attributes are kind of typically HP and defense based, but your advanced attributes, which are the ones that can go up pretty high, they're all about attack, right? And the only real kind of difference between green, blue, and purple and orange is the range, right? So if we look at green, I just used all my greens, so I can't show you that now. But if you look at the blues, the maximum you're going to go to for attack or attacking attack is 5.4. In rally, it's going to go up to 8.1. I might not be doing apples to apples here because I'm looking across troop types. So all right, let's just focus on mounted. So all right, so attacking attack goes up to 5.4, and I have no in rally other than over here. Okay, so attacking attack up purple goes up to 8, and in rally attack goes up to 8 as well. Defending goes up to 8, and I have no orange. Okay, let's see if we go to ranged. So here it's also 8, 5.4, purple is 8. So orange is kind of cool because it goes all the way up to 20. So that's kind of a pretty, like if you get lucky on that one, you could go super high. Whereas, purple's your minimum is 2.2, so you could easily get a purple book that's worse than a blue book, right? Because if you get lucky on a blue and you're up at like 4 or 5%, you could easily with a purple get something that's more like 2 or 3%. So it's really just, it's an odds game, as usual. So mounted and ranged, they're both very attack heavy, as is, everything else in the game. It's very easy to get your mounted and ranged buffs super high compared to everything else. But for ground, it's a different story. So here, it's all about HP, unfortunately. So they do go higher as a result. They go up to like 14%. And this kind of reflects the rest of the game in that, like, your military tactics, right? The ground tactics suck for attack, but they're actually pretty good for for HP. And for good reason, right? Because if you come out here and you check out your stats for like your T-15s, ground is all about HP, right? If you look at the attack base stat versus the HP base stat, like, ground's main strength is the fact that it just is really, really hard to kill. So in an attack or a defense, your ground troops basically take so many turns to kill that it doesn't really matter that their attack is so weak. They're just there to basically soak up the damage. So any kind of percentage you can amplify your ground HP by is huge in a battle. So let's go back over here. All right, so we don't have a ground book yet, so let's get a ground book in there. So we've got 2 in rallies, but they're both lefts. And we've got an attacking ground troop HP, but it's a right. So we could just do maybe a blue book for now. So I've got an in rally ground troop HP left. No, I don't. I have a right. I've got an attacking left. And God, everything else is a flipping right. Okay, yeah, now we'll do the purple. So we'll mix and match. We'll get an in rally HP, and we're gonna match it with the attacking ground troop HP. So that's gonna give 2 out of 3 HP, 1 in rally, 1 attacking. I'm gonna click here. So the odds are I want one of the 2 outfield stats. I don't want the defending one for this one. So we'll hit merge and we'll see what we get. So we got another attacking, and they're up at 7.9, 7.2%. So that's pretty good. And then the basic attribute is for defense. So, whatever, that's fine. And then the other one is worse. Similar, but worse. So of the 2 books, I think I know which one we're going to take. We're going to do the one with the 7s. And if we add it all up, what's that? 14, 15.1, that's 20%. 20% ground HP for being in rally and attacking. Whereas the top one is 16.3. So yeah, definitely do that. So there we go. So we've got our new ground stat book. We could continue to upgrade this if we wanted to. I'm not going to right now. So then one of the last things to look at is how you lock these. So if you go in your book warehouse, right? So we saw in the upgrading here that we can basically pick anything in here, and we can just, we can use auto select and it's going to grab everything. So if you've got books for you've got one for attacking and one for defending, and you want to make sure that one of them, whichever one's not in use, doesn't get grabbed during an upgrade, then you can come in here and lock them. So for instance, these oranges, I might want to just reserve those for a future date. So I'm going to use that padlock. So that way these ones aren't going to get leveraged. So if I now go back here and I go upgrade, I can't, I can pick these, but you can't see where I'm clicking. I'm clicking the oranges and I can't click them. I can't even unlock them from this screen. So I can use everything else to do the upgrade, but I can't use those oranges because I've got them locked. So that's how you do that. All right, what else have I missed? Oh yeah, so, all right, so we covered mounted. Mounted is primarily attack. Ranged is primarily attack. Ground is all about HP. Siege, so we don't have this one open yet because I haven't got my building up and running. So the siege one is going to open at level 12. And then the missile, the siege range debuff one's going to open at 15, right? So when the next event starts in a couple of days, I'll get these through another couple of levels. But if we look at siege, so if I go to my book merge filter, put on my siege one. So siege is, it looks like it's all defense, but there are some for attack, but they are few and far between. So we've got a few in rally siege machine attack here for the right side. I'm not sure I've got any for the left side. Oh yeah, I do. There we go. So I've got a left side, and then I'm going to use that one. So again, I don't have the attendant open yet, but I can still merge this book. So here you can see again, I've got my 2 advanced attributes. They're both going to be in rally siege machine attack, which is really nice. And if I click on this, these are my odds. So I've now got a 1 in 3 chance of getting another attack stat. Otherwise, it's going to give me one of the 2 other ones that are not great. Siege defense is one of the more useless buffs out there. Again, just because the siege base stats are so low and defense is one of the more awful ones. So anyway, fingers crossed. Let's try and get 1 in 3. And we got it. Nice. They're all pretty low, unfortunately. But that was good. All right, let's now take a look at the next one. Ooh. Okay. So I got 2 purples for the attack ones that were guaranteed, but then it gave me a trashy defending siege machine defense one instead for the 3rd. But that's pretty good. I'll take that. So I'm actually going to go to my warehouse. Okay, I already have my siege filter on. So that one, yeah, the one with the purples, I'm going to get that locked so I don't accidentally consume that, because that's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty nice. And then I don't think I've got enough of the missile books. Oh yeah, I do. Okay. All right, so again, we're going to just see what the options are here. I don't really care too much about these just yet. So I'm going to pick 2 of these. So these are ranged and siege attack debuffs when defending. So this will apply to your city if you're being attacked, or if you're like defending a building, like a temple or the throne or something like that. But if we click on the info button, it's going to tell you the other stuff. So there is a 1/3 chance of getting attacking siege machine HP, which is pretty nice. And then the other option is when joining the rally, there's a debuff. So that's kind of cool, because typically when you launch a rally, you don't even get the option to bring your subsidies with you. You have to just do a straight up attack. So that's a similar type of skill that a lot of the new rare officers have, where they're starting to allow you to get better debuffs when you're doing rallies on people. So there you go. Anyway, all right, we're going to do this just so that we can see what the base stat is. And the base attribute in this case is healing speed, which again is nice. 5% isn't huge, but as a lot of you realize, in Evony, everything, every little counts, right? So anyway, so the 3rd one in this case, it gave me attacking siege machine HP, which is nice. And then for the other book, where's my other book? There we go. It gave me the same thing, but a lot lower. So again, of the 2, I will take... wait, I'm on the right filter? Yes, I'm on the right filter. So yeah, of these two, I'm going to take the one with the purples, and I'm going to take the one with that nice, healthy 10.1% attacking siege machine HP. So I'm going to lock that. And that way, in a few days, when I get these other spots unlocked, I have my books already prepared and ready to go in. So that is pretty much everything. You can coin these things if we're outside in the 11-day major event cycle right now, so there's no packs available. But once you're into the major cycle, there'll be packs. I don't think they're really worth it because of how, I mean, I've got some relatively decent purple books already for not spending any money. Maximum you're going to get out of these buffs is like 40-50% if you're really, really lucky. But the only way of doing that is to just keep trying. And the great thing is about this is that you never lose anything by trying and failing, because you can always just leverage those books to upgrade the positions. So it's just one of those slow burners, I think, where you're just going to have to keep chugging away and, keep spending the gems, purchased by gems every day. Make sure you do your dailies if you want to just see where those come from. The 145 has, where is it? Yeah, it's got the goddess prayer and the goddess worship, and then the 110 has same thing. So you get 2 of each for doing, basically for completing your dailies every day. So there you have it. Pretty straightforward, right? All right, until next time.